Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me for my 10 cards 1 kit. Today I'm going to be using the Love from Lizi card kit for June 2017. Now I already cut and scored the papers and I ran through it really fast, but their paper size is different, and so I decided to use the A6 size cards for this card tutorial. Here I am, I'm stamping the images that came with the kit. This is a stamp set that's adorable. It is a 4th of July theme, and I'm stamping the firecrackers, and now I'm stamping the sentiment. Now I'm kind of swerving and swirling the sentiment so that it kind of has a little wave to it, and I thought that was neat. This says Happy 4th of July, and so I'm going to go ahead and color those in. And in the kit came this wonderful chameleon marker. Now I practiced with it before I did the video, and this is a really neat marker. Oh my goodness, you can get shading with one marker. I think what it does is it takes the ink out, so you can vary the color. It is so neat. I love these. This is the first one that I've ever tried, and I really like it. Here you just press the tip to the white tip that's inside the cylinder there, and it lightens the marker shade. So you can go from light to dark, and when you color, it's just a smooth transition. I really like this pen. This is really neat. So I did the rest of the coloring with my alcohol markers, and I believe that this chameleon is an alcohol marker because it's coloring really well. And so I used the rest of them. This is the only pen I had, so the rest of the coloring I used with my alcohol markers. But you see the shading, how nice it gives? But this is a long video, so I'm going to skip forward to the coloring. And I went ahead and colored out, or cut out, all the images here. Okay, now these firecrackers are so adorable, but I wanted them to kind of be the star of the card, so I wanted them bigger. So I just cut the tops off of, I doubled up on them, and I cut the tops off of the same color one, and then glued it together to make them extra long. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I made extra long firecrackers there. Now I'm using the red cardstock that came in the kit, and then I grabbed a piece of black cardstock from my stash, and I'm using my anti-static powder tool because I want to be doing some embossing. And so I'm using some Versamark ink, and I'm going to take this like Starburst firework kind of a stamp. I love this one, and I'm going to stamp it on my black cardstock here. I'm going to stamp it twice, and then I'm also going to grab the little itty bitty cluster of stars, and I'm going to stamp that as well. And then once I have that done, I think one more is good. Once I have that done, I'm going to use some white embossing powder. This is Nuvo Simply White embossing powder. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my heat tool. I'm going to heat set that. This kit is so fun because it is 4th of July theme, and so I was so excited when it came in. Lots and lots of goodies in this kit. The embossing powder from Nuvo was Glacier White, not Simply White. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to trim down my black piece of cardstock here. So working with the A6 size card kind of threw me off a little bit, but I really like the size. In fact, I went on Amazon and I ordered some envelopes that will coordinate with them, and so it's just a little bit longer. Here I am, I'm arranging my little firecrackers on my panel here. I'm going to pop those up with some foam tape. And just place them right in the center there. And then I'll grab my sentiment. I had already cut out, and I just hand cut out the swervy little banner and fishtailed the ends. And I'm going to place that right in the center. Lovely. Now, I thought I needed a little bit more, so I'm going to grab my corner rounder, and I'm just going to corner around the edges, just because it was real sharp and I wanted to soften it a little bit. I popped it up with some foam tape, And I'm going to place that directly in the center of my card base here. Lovely. And then for some finishing touches, I grabbed some glossy accents, and I'm just going over the firecrackers with my glossy accents. And that's it, guys. That's card 1. Okay, 9 more to go. We have card 2 here. Now I'm taking this beautiful pattern paper. I love the pattern paper that came in the kit. You get 12 pieces of pattern paper, and they're all, well, most of them are 4th of July theme, but they almost have a vintage look to them, and I really love that about these pattern papers. But I just trimmed that down, and then I'm taking my craft knife, and I was going to cut the stars out, but then I was looking over, and in the kit it has this beautiful sticker sheet. They're long strips of like metallic colored stickers, and so I thought it would be neat if I went over the lines that were on this cardstock with a sticker, just to give it some extra shine. You know, like it's almost like you're embossing your own paper, but this is the fun way. So I'm just adhering it to my pattern paper here, going over those lines. And the nice thing about these stickers is there's 3 different sizes, and this pattern paper happened to have 3 different sizes of lines, so it worked out really well. I love the shimmer that it gives to this card. And I'm just going to trim off the excess here. Lovely. And then after I get this done, I'm going to go ahead and cut out those stars. I was going to cut out 3 stars, but then ended up just cutting out 2. You see that shimmer, how pretty that is? And then we are going to make a shaker with this. So I went ahead and flipped it over, and then I added my acetate. But before I did that, I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry. But I wanted a little bit more of an accent, so I took a piece of this pattern paper here, and I cut out a strip, and I'm just going to adhere that to the left side of my panel here. Just for a little added interest. I like the way that looked. Lovely. And then I love these stickers. Oh my goodness. It makes the seams beautiful. I don't know how to explain it. But if you put them over a seam, it's just gorgeous because they're thin, and I love that. Okay, now I'm going to use my glue runner, and I added my acetate, and then I popped it up with some foam tape. And then here I took that sequin strip there, and I added just a strip of the blue inside my shaker window. And then the kit also comes with these beautiful sequins. They're gold and silver, and I filled those little stars in with those sequins as well. I'm going to take my card base, place that right on top of it, and then I'm going to flip it over. For this card, I'm using the white card base. I just think that looks so neat. Now we need a sentiment. So I took the rest of that pattern paper and I cut out that larger star. I thought that would be perfect to put the sentiment on. And so I needed colored paper for the sentiment, and I thought, well, I think this red would look really pretty. So I am going to heat emboss it. So I'm grabbing the sentiment that says "Let's Celebrate," and it's like the perfect size too. So I'm just going to use some Versamark ink and some white embossing powder. I'm going to heat set that and then trim it down. I'm fishtailing the ends on both ends of the sentiment here, and then I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape. Lovely. And then after I got that done, I was looking at my star, and I was thinking it just needed a little bit of color. So I grabbed the chameleon pen, and the color for this pen is really pretty. It's a sky blue, I believe. Let me double check it here. Yep, it's a sky blue. Beautiful color. So I'm just going to go around the edges of my star with this pen, and it really goes well with that blue pattern paper there. Lovely. And then I'm going to pop that up with a dimensional adhesive, and I'm going to place that on my card. Lovely. Then I'm going to add a little bells and whistles, which are some sequins, a little few here and there, and then I even grabbed some of the blue ones off of that string just to make it pop. And then I'm just using some glue. Actually, I grabbed my glossy accents. It was closer, and I'm just securing it there with my glossy accents. And I think this card turned out so fun and so cute. I just love this. And that is card number 2. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to move along to card number 3. Now for card number 3, I decided, well, I'm going to use the blue card base, and I'm taking this striped pattern paper, and then I'm also going to take this pattern paper that has stars on it, and I'm going to trim it down just a little bit. Lovely. And then I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm going to mark where the base of that star paper is going to be. And then here I'm taking my score tape. It's some super strong double adhesive tape. And so I went over every line with my score tape. And then I'm grabbing my white sequin strip. This is so shiny and so pretty. I thought it'd be fun to add the red and the white sequin strips to this pattern paper. And I think of all the cards, I think this one is my favorite. So here I am just adhering all the sequins, and I'm just about done here. Lovely. And the shine that it gives is so neat, but it's not too bulky, and I just love the way this looks. Lovely. Now I'm going to grab that pattern paper with the stars, and using my tape runner, I'm just going to adhere that to the bottom here. I'm adding quite a bit because I want it to stick right over those sequins there. I'm going to trim off the excess. Lovely. Okay, now I wanted some gold on there too. So the kit came with some gold rickrack, and I doubled it up and put it over the seam, and I'm just trimming off the ends. And I think this just turned out so pretty. I just almost like Uncle Sam's hat or something. So fun. So that's the card base part. Now we need our sentiment. So I'm taking a strip of that striped paper, and I like the cream color in it because I wanted it all to blend really well. So here I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says Happy 4th of July. And then I'm taking the stars that were in that I cut out from the previous card, and they're almost the same color as the tan stripe in there. And I'm going to put them to good use. So I also want a kind of a vintage look too. So I grabbed my vintage photo distress ink, and I'm going around the edges of my card panel here. So this just turned out so vintagey and fun. I love that. And then I'm going to go around the stars as well. And then I cut out my sentiment. Just use scissors to cut it out. And I'm going to fishtail one end. And one of the white sequin strips, I had pulled on it too hard, and so it kind of messed up a little bit. So I'm going to cover my mess up with that star. I attached my sentiment to the larger star, and then I'm using the vintage photo distress ink again and went around all the edges there of both stars and the sentiment. And I'm just popping that up with some foam, it's not foam tape, they're dimensional adhesive. And I'm placing it right there, and then I'm going to add the second star right below it. And that's it. That's card number 3. I think it just turned out so pretty. Now for card number 4. The vellum that came in this kit is amazing. It's so fun. And so I decided to grab this little guy that was holding a flag. And then the kit also came with some photo frames. So I'm taking a photo frame and I'm going to add that vellum piece right behind it. And then I'm going to trim it all around so it fits in the frame nicely. Lovely. Then we need a sentiment. So I chose the sentiment that says celebration, and I just stamped it and then heat embossed it with black embossing powder and in that bottom corner there. And then I'm taking this as the pattern paper with the stars. This is the same paper that I used in the earlier one, and I'm just trimming it down so it will fit my card base. Lovely. And for this card base, I decided to go with the craft paper. I love craft cardstock. Oh my goodness, I really do. And so I'm just placing this right in the center. And then I'm going to try to figure out where I want to place my photo frame. And here I did notice that I needed a white panel behind my photo frame just to make it stand out more. And so before I do that, I wanted to add some of the twine that came with the kit. And I'm just tying a bow, looping it, or I wrapped it twice, and then I also secured it with a glue dot. And then I added some foam tape behind it, and then I put my white panel behind it and added sequins. And I just think this turned out so cute. Now I did have, when I added my white panel behind my photo frame, I had a little excess, so I was just cutting it off. But that's it. That was card number 4. So easy. Now for card number 5, I'm using one of the canvas stars that was in the kit, and I gave it a haircut just to clean it up a little bit, and then I'm just going back and fraying the edges a little bit. It's like giving somebody a haircut and then messing their hair up. So that's what I did. And I'm taking this beautiful pattern paper here, and I'm trimming it down so that it fits my card base. And this one is going to fit my card base all around. I decided to use the yellow cardstock for my card base for this one. And my measurements weren't exact, so I'm just trimming the yellow a little bit. This one here is a fun card. I grabbed a piece of vellum that has that really pretty pattern there, almost the same pattern as the paper, and then I'm cutting the strips of the vellum out, and then I'm kind of separating them a little bit, and using a glue dot in the center I'm going to adhere them all around the star just to kind of make it fluffy. And I just adhered them in the center because I want them to have a little bit of lift, a little bit of movement on the card. And then there you'll see the 2 little firecrackers. I wasn't going to use those. I had colored those in, but decided not to use them with this. So I took a piece of the pattern paper that had the little faint colored stars on it. I stamped my sentiment that says Freedom Celebration. And then I thought it just needed a little bit more. So I'm taking this vellum piece right here, and then I'm using my circle dies. I cut out the circle from there. And the center of my my star was still sticky with the glue dot, so I just adhered that circle right in the center. And then I'm going to pop up my sentiment. I'm using some glue dots for that, and place it right in the center. And this was such a fun card. This one turned out neat. I was happy with this one. And that is card number 5. Lovely. So pretty. I love the shine that it gives. That vellum's so pretty. Now for card number 6, I'm grabbing the little banner stamp, and I'm going to stamp it using some Memento Tuxedo black ink, because I am going to be coloring that in. I'm just using a white piece of cardstock. And then for this, I cut out, using a rectangle die, I cut out a panel. And this is where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And for this sentiment, I decided to use Happy 4th of July. I liked it because it was a long sentiment, and I think it filled the panel well. So I stamped that just using some VersaFine ink. And then I'm going to color in my little flag, my flags. Now I used the chameleon pen, and then I went ahead and used my alcohol markers because I wanted that rich blue. So I wanted a variance of color, and I went ahead and cut that out. Fussy cutted my little banner out. I went and added the sequin strips, the red, white, and blue, to the bottom of that white panel. And then now I'm popping it up with some foam tape, placing it right in the center there. Lovely. I love those sequin strips. There's just so many things you can do with it. I really, really like them. They're beautiful. The shine that they gave a card is so nice. So now I am popping up my little banner here. I'm going to place that on my card. And then for a few bells and whistles, I added some sequins. Lovely. And then for some finishing touches, I'm taking the Nuvo Blue Lagoon crystal drops, and I'm going over the stars on the flags, and then also the inside of my sequins, just for a little bit of touch of blue. I think it looks so pretty. So now we're going to move on to card number 7. Now, for this card, I really wanted to use these glass tiles. I think they're gorgeous. They're like red mirror and gold mirror tiles. And so I had cut out a circle with some white cardstock. And this was leftover paper from another card, so I thought I'd use that for the bottom. And then I'm going to grab the firecracker here, and I'm going to stamp it with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'm going to stamp it directly on the circle, kind of arranging them where I want them to go. Now I'm stamping them here because I want the tail of the firecracker to be on this card. So I went ahead and stamped it on some white, again on some white cardstock. I stamped the sentiment that says party time, and I had already colored in my little firecrackers, and I'm just going to pop them up with some foam tape and place them directly on top of the ones that I had stamped on that circle. Lovely. I think they turned out so cute. Now we're going to use those glass tiles. These are so fun. But before I do that, I need to grab one of these metallic blue strips. These are so fun. I like these. So I just added that to the bottom. Now I'm going to go around the entire edge of that circle, alternating the gold and the red with these little tiles. And the tiles are sticky backed, which are so nice. So and they're so easy to cut. So I'm just finishing up here, going around that circle. Lovely. I think that just turned out so neat looking. I mean, the dimension that it gives us is pretty awesome. So fun. And when the light hits it, it just shines. It's so neat. Okay, now I'm taking my yellow card base here, and then a piece of the pattern paper, and then I am just going to kind of figure out where I want to put it. And I trim down that pattern paper to be on the front, the entire front of my yellow cardstock. And then I'm kind of figuring out where I want these to go, because I want the stripes to match from top to bottom, and so I just marked them with a pencil. And then I popped them, both of those, up with some foam tape. I'm just trimming off the little extras. Lovely. And then for finishing touches, I grabbed some of those Blue Lagoon Nuvo crystal drops and added a few to that circle. And that's it for that card, guys. We're going to move on to card number 8. Now for card number 8, I stamped the sentiment. This sentiment says congratulations. Now I wanted to do, and I used my my banner die to cut that out. And then I also cut out a heart using one of my heart dies. Now, I wanted to make a card with this kit that wasn't 4th of July. I know I always try to with every kit I do, I try to do something out of the ordinary, I guess you could say. So this kit came with a beautiful organza bag. And so I'm taking this heart and using the Nouveau Crystal drops. I'm just drawing heart after heart on the inside of the heart here, just to give it a little shimmer. And then I'm grabbing my sequins, and I'm going to add some sequins to this while it's still wet, because I know once I put my little heart in that bag, that most of the sequins that I put in there are going to fall to the bottom. And so if I place them on here, I know that they're going to stick, and you'll be able to see them. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm going to fill up the bag just with a few of the gold and silver sequins. And once I have that done, I'm taking this is the sky blue almost card base, and then I'm taking a piece of masking paper and a photo frame. I'm going to cut out a piece of masking paper the same size as that photo frame and place it directly on my card base here. And I wanted it at an angle, so I kind of tilted it a little bit. And then I took some broken china distress oxide ink, and I went around the entire card base with that distress oxide. Now, I had already activated it with my spritzer bottle, and so that's kind of drying a little bit. And then I thought, well, I'll go over the sentiment with some broken china just to give it a little bit of color. And so that's what I'm doing here. Lovely, and I think that looks so pretty. Okay, now I'm going to peel off that mask, and then I have a two-toned, and I really like the way that looks. I think that looks so neat. Now I'm going to grab my little heart. Oh no, you know what, before I do that, I'm grabbing some score tape, and I wanted to use those white sequin strings, and so this really is the best tape because it's so strong. And so I just adhered 2 strips of those white sequins on the bottom, just to give it a girly look, I guess. I think it looks so cute. And then I'm taking my little heart. One of my sequins popped off, so I'm going to place that back on there, and then I'm going to stick that inside that organza bag. I think the shimmer that it has is so pretty. Lovely. I'm just going to tie it a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my photo frame, and then I'm going to pop that up with some foam tape, and then I'm going to place that directly in the center of my card base. Lovely. Okay, now I'm going to attach my bag to the center of that photo frame, kind of arranging it the way I want it, and I'm using glue dots to secure that down. I'm going to just tie a knot here, just so the strings kind of lay a little bit flat. And I thought, well, wedding season is nearby, and I thought this would be a cute little congratulations card. I just popped up my sentiment with some foam tape, and then I'm adding a few of the Nouveau Crystal drops on the corners. And I think this was a very different bag, considering this was the 4th of July kit, but I think it turned out so pretty and fun. Okay, now we're moving on to card number 9, and I'm taking this piece of vellum here that has the cupcake on it, because I love my cupcakes. And for this one again, I'm going to use a photo frame. Actually, no, I didn't end up using it for this one. Well, I masked off the cupcake part because I wanted the clear vellum there to have a little bit more interest on it. So I'm going to be heat embossing with some gold embossing powder. And so I just used some Post-it tape to tape off so I wouldn't make a mess. And then I'm going to stamp that Starburst stamp with Versamark here. I'm just going to stamp it twice. And since the outside edge here was gold, I thought gold would be really pretty with this. And I wasn't sure how I was nervous when I was heat setting it because I wasn't sure how it was going to react. I thought, you know, sometimes it could shrink like crazy, but this worked out really well. So I heat set that, and I think it looks just lovely. I placed that directly on a piece of red cardstock, and then I stamped my sentiment that says "Let's Celebrate." And then I took a piece of pattern paper, took a strip of it, and then it has dark blue stripes, and so I went over the dark blue stripes with some of this beautiful foil sticker. I'm not even sure what they're called, but they sure are beautiful. So I thought I'm going to add that to the bottom, and I'm going to trim off the excess here. Lovely. And of course there's a seam, so I'm going to grab one more of those stickers and stick it right over the seam, and it just gives such a finished look. I love the way that is. Okay, now since it has gold in there and we have some gold rickrack, I thought it'd be neat to put some gold rickrack behind it, and so I'm just using my score tape again, and I'm just going over the top and the left side of the card, and I'm going to place that rickrack right over it just so it kind of peeks out on the edge. I'm going to trim it off on the edge, and the accent that this gives is so pretty. Oh my goodness, love that. See how pretty that is? For this card I'm using the white card base, and I'm going to just stick this panel on the lower right corner, just using my tape runner, and I just think this turned out so pretty. Love that. Okay, and now for our final card. I wanted to do something earthy. I wanted an earthy card, so I'm taking a rectangle die and I'm placing it on top of my craft cardstock. Now, and then I'm taking that triangle die with the lines in it, and I cut out 3 of those triangles. And then I wanted to use this burlap. So using the die as a guide, I'm taking my scissors and I'm going to cut it out. And then I wanted to place that directly on top of my card base over that hole that I created. Now I wanted some craft cardstock, but this was my last piece, and so that's why I cut out a hole, but I thought to cover it up the burlap would work good. So using score tape, I'm going to just place that on there and take it off here, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. But after I had placed my burlap right over the top of this window here, I thought, you know what, that craft background just needs some extra. And so, see the inside? I think the inside looks nice. So I kind of stole a piece of craft cardstock from the card, and so that's why I created that window. Otherwise I didn't need to do that. But just so I can cut out those banners with those triangle dies. Now I'm taking it off because I just think that the craft cardstock needs something more. So I'm going to fix my little patch here. And then from the stamp set, it has a large cluster of stars and little swirlies. And so I'm using my Versamark Dazzle. This is champagne color. And it'll give a real soft texture to my card base. So I'm going around that entire frame using that stamp, and I think that looks so pretty. Then I'm going to go back in and place my burlap right on top there. Lovely. Okay, once I have that done, I cut out a piece of pattern paper. This was the one with the light beige almost with the stars, and I'm arranging my little flags in the center here. And then once I have that done, I'm going to place that, I don't know why that went black, but I'm going to place that right in the center. And then the kit came with these adorable little bows. And so I used the rest of my twine and put it behind the bow. And then I'm attaching the satin bows to the edges of my little banners. Something different. And I thought it turned out cute. And I went ahead and stamped my sentiment using red cardstock. This sentiment says, "Let's celebrate." And then I thought it needed a little more red. And so I grabbed the red sequin string, and then I grabbed three of the red sequins, and then just using some glue, I wanted to put them right in the center of the bows, just for a little accent. And that was it, guys. That's card number 10. This was the first time I ever tried out Lizi's kits, and I have to tell you, they are jam-packed. When I was finished with this video, I had a bag full of goodies. I could probably make 10 more. I was so excited to get this kit. Well, I hope this inspires you. I'll leave Lizi's shop to where you could go visit down in the description area. Thanks. Here's a quick look at all 10 of the cards I made using this kit. I hope this inspires you to craft and create and get ready for 4th of July. Thank you so much for stopping by, as always. I appreciate you. If you're new and like this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Have a lovely day, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.